I want to talk today about separation and recognizing how the ego is so primed for separation and all the ways that we maintain the separation. And in fact, we're extremely attracted to separation as an ego. And Jesus says in the Course in Miracles that we have one problem and one solution. And our one problem is separation. It might seem like there's lots and lots of different problems. And that's how we are before we come to the Course. We've got a myriad of problems. Problems at work, problems in family, problems with health, problems with your pets. Lots and lots of different problems that all seem separate. But Jesus makes things very simple for us, and he says that we've got one problem and one solution, and that's separation. As he says, we're never upset for the reason we think. I think I'm upset because of something my neighbour said to me yesterday, but in fact I'm upset because of the separation. And it's an amazing idea to keep working with, to start levelling up and really make quick progress in this course, and to get very honest with yourself and to see all of the energy, this really instinctive energy, these instinctive drives that are in us that maintain the separation, really seeing them and saying, wow, really recognising what seems to be the strength of that egoic separation, that drive, that need for separation. Before the Course in Miracles, maybe it comes up in you without you even recognising it. It's so instinctive and immediate. It doesn't seem like you're in charge of that. And the Course in Miracles is a course in mind training. We're getting more familiar with our mind, and Jesus gives us a way to choose again. As much as we choose for the ego, we can start choosing against the ego and open up to the Holy Spirit's way of thinking. We can stop doing anything that's self-motivated and stop doing and wait for Spirit to act through us. But it is very interesting and helpful to look at all of the ways that we keep the separation real and what we gain, what I gain from separation. I've created a world where I've created a separate identity. This Amy identity has its own name, has its own body, has its own timeline, its own achievements and failures, its own special relationships that it gathers to it, its own hatreds. That's the world that I've created, and there seem to be lots of other separate identities doing the same thing. And it's absolutely a world of total confusion. And by being this separate thing, it's a way for me to hide and to abdicate responsibility. I'm just this body sat in a flat in London. I'm not responsible for the war in Ukraine or the war in Gaza or the famine in Sudan. I'm the innocent bystander. But look at all these terrible things that are happening in the world. Look at all these terrible people that seem to be acting in the world, doing harmful things. That's absolutely a way to project and reject my guilt. And, our issue also is guilt in the mind. We have extreme guilt because we've forgotten what we are in truth. We've separated from God. We've got amnesia, but we don't recognize that. We don't recognize this guilt. We're totally disassociated from our guilt. And I want to get rid of that guilt. It's very unconscious because we might not even recognize this guilt, but it's absolutely there. And my way to reject and offload that guilt, to try to make myself feel better, is to heap that guilt on someone else. And that's the world we've made. I've got all these other associations, all these other bodies, all these other organisations, all these other nations, countries, groups that I can blame for what's going on in the world, while I get to be the innocent bystander. And I need the separation because I need to offload this guilt. I need other bodies to blame. And there are so many things we experience as a human, as an ego. And the reason that we have all of those instincts is to maintain this separation. It's absolutely fundamental to me as a human. The entire existence of Amy, of the ego, needs separation to even exist. And it can seem extremely instinctive. The whole idea of liking and disliking keeps the separation real. The idea that I like some people and not other people, that I love someone but don't love somebody else. The entire purpose of judgment is to maintain the separation. He's done this, she's done that. I don't think they're right. That person can be wrong and I'm right. And separation is extremely painful. When we're in any kind of conflict in the mind, even the thought of they're not right, as an example, is an extremely painful idea because the separation is extremely painful. The whole question of identity, all the different identities that seem to exist in the world I see with the body's eyes, different nations, different continents, different ethnicities, different cultures, different ages, different genders, different sexual orientations. It's all around us, and it's around us because we want difference. We like to be different and separate, or somewhere in us there is that drive to be different and separate, and also special. And Jesus spends a lot of time in the Course talking about specialness, and specialness absolutely comes into separation and a way to maintain the separation. We have ones that we like and ones that we hate, special love and special hate. Your lover and your enemy are different sides of the same coin. And it's why one of Jesus' most powerful teachings is love your enemy. Look at how hard that is, that idea of loving our enemy, or attempting the experience of loving your enemy. You know, we have these ones that we idolize. This is all specialness. We have relationships or situations or people that we idolize, and others that we condemn and stigmatize and hate. And you can't really have one without the other. And the more time you spend with the Course, the more self-honest you're willing to get. You start to feel these energies in you. You really see and experience, dislike you might have for someone. And it's important to remember that Jesus says, even a slight frown is thinly veiled hatred. So really it's hatred. And we even maintain the separation with things that are celebrated in the world, like seeming to help other people. It's totally dependent on the other. It can actually be a way for you not to look at your own mind and go through the process of undoing the process of relinquishing the ego. I think others can be a way to avoid doing your own work and the work of relinquishing the separate identity and the ego, which nobody wants to do, really. It's easier to find somebody to fix and help out there. It's a great ego tactic, that one. A tactic the ego uses to maintain itself. And in Jesus telling us that we've got one problem and one solution, he tells us that we're only going to find peace in oneness. The only way to achieve lasting peace, peace that passes understanding, peace that cannot be shaken, is to experience oneness, is to go beyond the separation. You're not going to find peace in anything you do in time and space that isn't about joining and overcoming separation. And I'm not talking about joining with one other, I'm talking about joining with all and experiencing the true equality of that, experiencing absolutely equality in all relationships, all situations, and an absolute transformation in identity from being this separate identity to being one mind, going from being an Amy to the dreamer of the dream, to stop seeing yourself as a figure in the dream, part of this world that you see, but knowing that you're the creator of that world, or the projector of that world, and knowing that all is your mind, all is mind, and that's what you are. You are that mind. That's the only way to experience peace. There is not another way to experience peace. You won't experience peace any other way. And when you feel these energies rise in you, these energies of othering or conflict or judgment. I had one yesterday where I felt like I made a judgment against a brother. I felt like they were doing something wrong. And I can just say, wow, it's such an instinctive drive. Judgment is a separation device, and it's so powerfully attractive. I do it without even thinking. So, I stopped doing that to some extent because it was painful. Tried to be in forgiveness, but it was still painful, Of course, I've attacked my brother. I've attacked. But I know that, Jesus is going to offer me a way out of that and undo that, because I'm hurting myself. Because the truth is that, we are one. There is only one. There is no other. When I'm judging or attacking my brother, I'm attacking myself. And I get a real life demonstration of that every time, because I can't condemn or attack or judge a brother without it hurting me. It's literally impossible. And that shows me that oneness is real. That's an amazing demonstration to me that oneness is real. Because I can't hurt another brother or have a negative thought or an attack thought about another brother without feeling the pain of that. I cannot. I've tried. It's impossible. I feel the pain of that immediately. And what an amazing way to experience that oneness is real in that. And that's my work here, is to overcome separation. Maybe my only work here. And it does take extreme vigilance, always applying the teachings to myself. It's me that needs the help. It's the only way I have peace when I'm doing that. Obviously, sometimes I am attracted to the thoughts of wanting someone else to do something different, or wanting someone to apply the teachings, or whatever it might be. Of course, I'm absolutely susceptible to that. And that happens, and it's incredibly, incredibly painful. But I know that my healing is everyone's healing. I know that it's not possible to heal and heal alone. So I want to keep taking responsibility, remembering that oneness is the only way to peace. Letting go of separation, letting down my defences, my barriers, laying aside myself is the only way to peace. Giving up, forgiving, loving is the only way to peace. And when these experiences of separation and these separation tactics come up of attack, judgment, othering, I want to recognise that in myself and give it up to Jesus, give it up to God, forgive, and ask for the miracle.